Yes, guys, welcome back to another episode of Ball Talk with me, Lewis Bryon. And today I'm joined once again by footballer Ken Charles. Ken, how are you, mate?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I don't know, still a little frustrated, annoyed after last night's performance, which we'll get into straight away. Yeah, so Bayern Munich versus Arsenal. Obviously, we got knocked out of the Champions League in the quarterfinals. Did you catch the game?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
What's your immediate reaction the day after?
It's obviously disappointing from an Arsenal fan perspective because I feel like that was a winnable tie. Like, it's not, the Bayern of a couple of years ago where, they're really one of the best teams in Europe. They're obviously still top. They're still very good. Still got a lot of danger, man. But it was definitely a winnable tie. So to go out, it's a shame. But at the same time, it's only our first time back in the Champions League in about 15 years. So
yeah,
it's a lot. Like you can take that on the chin and say, okay, let's build from that.
Yeah, for me, it's still a bit too early for us to make any real push to win a Champions League. Like you said, it's our first time. I think it's our first time back in the competition in 7 years, and I think it's 14 years since we've been in the quarters. So to build up the experience, the know-how to deal with them big occasions, I feel like will take time. You can't just do it in your first year.
Yeah,
I think statistically as well, teams who have been out of the Champions League that come back in the first time, they never do well. They can never really get that far.
Yeah.
So listen, it will take time. You can't expect to do it in 1 year. And I think overall during the two ties, we lost to the better side. The first leg, I remember you said off camera that we could have maybe got more from the first leg, which I agree. But the second leg, I think we just lost to the better team last night.
Yeah, I think we controlled the game in large parts yesterday, especially in the first half, but didn't do anything to really, really trouble them. And, considering, we needed to win yesterday.
Yeah.
We can't say we've done enough to win. I think as much as we controlled parts of the game, they probably had the better chances or the better openings. I know Goretzka hit the crossbar. There was a few other close calls. So the goal felt like it was coming at one point. So,
yeah, they did have the better chances.
Yeah,
I'd say.
Yeah, definitely the better chances. I'd say we didn't really hurt them in terms of direct attempts, clear-cut chances. No. So yeah.
We got in good positions, especially in the first half. I remember saying during the game, these are gettable in the first half. The goal could have been there, but again, the end product we weren't really threatening that much. We were getting in good positions, not really threatening it. And I think Bayern Munich, fair play to Tuchel, because I think their game plan was top. They sort of just stayed calm, soaked up a bit of pressure, sat off, and then as they hit us on a couple counters, got the crowd up for it, and then they come out second half firing, and we just couldn't keep up with the intensity of it, and then they obviously just showed their quality.
Yeah. I think the first leg is what, obviously hindsight's easy, but the first leg's what killed us really. I think Arteta would have had, and before either tie, he would have had in his head that if we can win the home leg and get some sort of lead, we'd probably go there with a different game plan than we did yesterday. We'd have probably gone there with a similar style to how we played against City, where it's just about not conceding.
Yeah, that would have been ideal, wouldn't it?
Yeah, whereas yesterday, obviously, we was trying to score, so there was, like you said, on the counter, they had their own opening. So, like you said, it's the first year back's always going to be hard, especially with a young squad. There's hardly any experience in that squad of these big games. It's you got to be used to. It's like one of the biggest games half the teams ever played.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, you're right.
I mean, players like Rice who are top players. This is the biggest game he's ever played yesterday, other than probably the European Championship and the World Cup of England. But at club level, it's as big as it gets. Players like Saka, it's their first year in the Champions League, so it'll take time. I think it's a good experience for them, and it gives Arteta something to build on for next year.
Yeah, well, you just mentioned Saka. We'll talk about a few of the performances.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on Saka? I mean, I thought he needed to do more, really. I thought our whole front line, we're so used to seeing him in the Premier League, scoring multiple goals, being threats, and then it just seemed like, I don't know, it seemed like they couldn't make an impact at all.
Yeah. I think I'm probably torn between the fan side of me and the player side of me.
Yeah.
The fan side would say they all did nothing. You know, the forwards in particular. I think the defenders were fine. I think Odegaard was decent. The front three didn't really do anything to get into the game or impact them. But at the same time, you know, you can look at things and say Saka's played a lot of games, and it's not easy. He's not a machine. He's playing a lot of 90s as well, full 90s. So it can take its toll. But he didn't really look like himself yesterday. There's no denying that. He didn't look anywhere near what he's capable of. But are we overly reliant on him?
Probably.
Because as good as
Squad
he is,
depth maybe.
Yeah, as good as he is, he's a top player. But it looks like if he doesn't turn up, it's like we don't win, and then we're looking at him. But is that really fair? He's a 22-year-old kid who's literally carried Arsenal on his back for the last 3 years.
And then he's always getting compared to, obviously Palmer's on fire at the moment, and Foden, who done it against Real Madrid away. So he's always going to get compared to them, and it's so easy to then look worse.
Yeah, but I wouldn't like, if I was him personally, I'd take pride in that, because the fact that he's the standard, he doesn't even, like, he can be sitting at home not playing, and Palmer scores a hat-trick and everyone's talking about Saka. So that tells you the levels Saka's set, that he's the standard that everyone wants to compare to. So yeah, obviously the last 2 or 3 weeks haven't been the best, because obviously gone out of the Champions League now, and Palmer's been on fire, Foden's been on fire. So there's direct comparisons, but recency bias is a big thing.
Yeah,
Saka's been hitting unreal numbers for about 3 seasons in a row now,
which is what has brought that scrutiny on it.
Exactly. Whereas the people he's being compared to, it's very temporary. It's temporary.
No, I know what you mean.
It's like, obviously Palmer's having the season of his life, unreal. Like, you got to give credit where it's due, and he's a top footballer. Like, if you just forget stats, if you just watch him, he's a top player. But you know, Saka had a season too, and then another. Like, before you can start comparing,
he's established that level now.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas we've seen players have half a season or a season and never ever hit them levels again.
Yeah, no, I agree, mate. And we touched on it a bit, but we mentioned that in the second half of the game last night, Arsenal looked a little leggy, and Bayern come out, had a lot of intensity and energy. One thing I think Arsenal need to learn how to do and get better at, even in the league, to be honest, is to be more efficient with the way we play. Because it seems like, especially in the tougher games, we have to give absolutely everything from every player, like run more than we need to put away these teams.
Yep.
And I felt like that last night. I feel like Bayern was so efficient with their energy.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, any time they used a sprint or a counter, it was effective. They created a good chance. Whereas us, we have to give it all just to create that one little opening. Do you know what I mean?
I think we're very reliant on Arteta getting his game plan like perfect.
Yeah.
I think we're reliant on, like you said, the whole team, you know, performing exactly how Arteta wants to get a win. I think we probably lack a bit of that player that just decides, you know, F it, I'm gonna take 2 players on and score, or I'm gonna bang it from 25 yards. Like, obviously those players are rare, but I think we probably lack, like, if you have one of those, that's when those tight games get decided. Someone that can just, you know, a bit of a moment of magic.
Musiala was on the, like, he was looking to do it last night.
You can see, like, even though he didn't do it against us, that's the type of player perhaps that we miss, where it's like, okay, it's a tight game. Can someone bail us out, basically, out of nothing? Whereas I think, like you said, we needed to create a chance yesterday, and we didn't. So, you know, we weren't scoring really.
No, yeah. And listen, we're out, and I think we still done well overall. If you look at it on paper, our first year back, like we said, in so long, to get to the quarters. So, but it was coming even with the first knockout game, against Porto. Like, we still struggled against them, really. Yeah. Where we should have, on our form, like, you look in the league compared to theirs, we should have been putting them away. So we'll come back. We just need to learn from it, don't we? Come back more experienced in there next year.
Yep.
Man City also got knocked out last night. So that's both the English teams out. They lost on pens, but they dominated the game. So to me, obviously being an Arsenal fan, I take a bit of confidence in that for the league, to know that they can dominate games and lose. Because they had like 70% possession last night, and then I think they took off Haaland and De Bruyne, and then they lost on pens. So they can lose games as well, just as well.
They can lose games.
Arsenal.
They can lose games. Obviously, they played Real Madrid in a Champions League game.
Yeah, of course.
And Real Madrid in the Champions League, we know what they're about. And that comes back to what you said about being like a new team back in the Champions League. Like the Real Madrids, the Bayerns, in that competition, they know what needs to be done to get through. But yeah, City can lose games. It's just Arsenal I think you got to forget about City for now, and there's 6 games to go. Win them all and see where that takes you, because I think if you win them all, you've got every chance. You've got absolutely every chance if you win them all.
I agree.
And if you win them all and somehow City also win their last 6, then you just hold your hands up and say, okay, we're competing against...
We've lost 1 game in 2024.
Yeah, exactly. And you're competing against a team that you're competing against, one of the best teams of this modern era. So it's.
Yeah, and with the Champions League, Real Madrid, like I mentioned, they weren't really in the game, really. They never looked like winning that individual game, and yet they come away with the win and go through to the semi-finals. So that competition is all about knowing how to just win games, not perform good.
Exactly.
Just win games. Whereas Man City do it better than Arsenal, but both of them really prefer to perform good, and they stick to that system rather than having maybe adapting to what the game needs to just get the 3 points.
Yeah, for sure. I think because you look at both games, I wouldn't say the better team went through in either.
No.
I'd say Arsenal are probably a better footballing team than Bayern Munich, and I think if you watch both legs, you can see that. But I think Arsenal killed themselves in both legs, but especially the first leg. If you look at the 2 goals Bayern scored, it's all from our own doing. And you look at the 2 goals we scored in that leg, we had to
work for it, as I was mentioning earlier.
Literally work the ball so well for a good passage of play, and then find our opening and put it away. Good finishes from both players. So it's about getting through. It's about doing what needs to be done to get to the next round. And Bayern a very, they're streetwise when it comes to that, and so Madrid. But even if you look at the managers, like Tuchel's won the Champions League before. He's managed so many Champions League games. This is Arteta's first Champions League run. As good as he is,
he's learning as well.
Yeah, you do sometimes think, actually, this is his first run. Like, it'd be naive to think that in his first ever Champions League campaign, he should go on and win it. Like, it's possible. Obviously, it would have been possible, but it's unlikely.
Yeah, it's the years and years of being in the Champions League that is going to take you through in their moments, isn't it?
Yeah, making the right subs, doing the right tactical approach at the start, everything.
I think I heard Andy Robertson say as well, like, Liverpool they played Real Madrid, I think, in their first Champions League final, and he sort of said the boys were like getting cramps at 60, 70th minute, and they were like struggling physically. The occasion had sort of got to them, and then next year in the final again against, I think, Tottenham. Like, obviously, probably a lesser opposition, but they went into it knowing what happened last year.
What to do.
Yeah, what to do. They could probably control their emotions better, know what to do in the warm-up the day before to stay calm, block everything out, and then they go on and win it. So it's experience is king in it with that sort of stuff.
100%, yeah.
Who do you think wins the whole thing?
Madrid would have to be favourites, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
I think
they've got Bayern, in the semi.
Yeah, I think. I'd say, again, without disrespecting Bayern, because they're a established team in the competition. They know what they're doing. I still don't think they're a great team. I think Madrid are probably a better team. Now you're playing against. Now the game will be 2 teams that know what they're doing in the competition. Yeah. So probably the better team wins, I think. Obviously, you can never call it. I think on the other side, we got PSG Dortmund.
Yeah.
You back PSG.
They're playing for second place, them two, I think.
Yeah, you'd back PSG to win that, but they weren't unreal against Barca. Like Barca,
they hit and miss as well. PSG.
Barca killed themselves with the red card. Otherwise, PSG killed themselves with the red card because otherwise Barca were 2 up. They scored their goal in that leg and then they killed themselves. So I don't know if PSG are that good.
They don't have enough to win it. No, I
think they're so reliant on Mbappe. I think if Mbappe turns up the way he can, then they can be a top team. But if not, I don't think they have it. But you know how Champions League football works. Like I think it can surprise us. It definitely can.
So you going Madrid?
I'm going Madrid. If I had to pick one,
Yeah, I'll second that. I think Madrid have got it. I think that'll be tight though versus Bayern. But I can see Madrid winning it all. I want to go on to, because we spoke about maybe the lack of squad depth with Arsenal. I want to go on to what their recruitment really in the summer, what we'd like to see, what you think's going to happen, and what they need.
Yeah, I think, people forget Arsenal are still in a rebuild phase, and I think we're still probably way ahead of their plans that they made for getting Arsenal back to competing. You can't fix all the things you need to fix in one transfer window. So we're talking about squad depth and stuff, but the squad depth this season is still a lot better than it was last season. But perhaps it's still short of a City or a team like that. So it's like this summer gives them a chance to then go again and probably plug those gaps. I think there's depth. It's just certain areas that we need more depth. I think here's the thing. I think there's actually depth, but it's whether or not Arteta rates the players that are in the squad. So you look at a Nelson, for example. I think he's a very good player. Obviously, Arteta knows him. Arteta knows him and his squad more than we'll ever know. But I always look at him and think, is he not someone that out of, let's say, 15 games can get 4 starts? But it looks like for Arteta, that's not the case. If Saka's fit, Saka plays no matter what the occasion, unless it's like Luton the other night. That was like the only time I remember him rotating Saka for a long time. Trossard looks like the only player that Arteta kind of gets involved sometimes. He can start him, but you need more of that. You need, let's say, another right winger that he trusts as much as Trossard, that you can turn around and say, okay, Saka's played 3 games in 8 days. He's going to sit out this game. This guy's going to come in, and the level doesn't drop. The level is still. That's the main thing.
It goes from A to A.
Yeah. Exactly. Because I rate Reece Nelson, but to me, it seems like Arteta thinks that's a massive drop off in terms of.
He's in a similar boat to Nketiah, really.
I was gonna say the same thing in terms of the strikers.
I think what Reece needs, he obviously went on loan to Germany a few times, like once or twice, and he done well out there. Yeah. But I think he needs to go on loan in England now, and to another Premier League team, and make his name known to people in England, like to see if he has got that level. He'll get his confidence up. So maybe a team like a mid-table team.
Yeah. The issue is, you know how the business in football works. I think they might even sell him, because when you're trying to raise funds,
Joe Willock was a similar position.
Yeah, they might have to sell it the same way they might have to sell Nketiah, and it's like, I think from a club's perspective, if you loan him out and it don't go great, then that's a year down on his contract, his value's down, and it's like, should we cash in now or should we? So I don't know what's going to happen to them too, but yeah, I think they have to go and play football, whether it's on loan, whether it's permanent, because it's clear that Arteta doesn't see them as, suitable squad players to rotate in and out. So yeah, I think we need to. There's certain key areas where we probably need more depth.
Yeah. So you mentioned a winger there, maybe to a backup or to help Saka's load.
Yeah. Because when you look at, I don't know, you look at City, and last year they won the treble with Grealish playing near enough every game, and Pep rates him. He's so important to their team. They still go and buy Doku.
Yeah.
Who's like,
but that is
as good as a winger as any starting winger in every other Premier League team. And then it's like, okay, so now there's competition. It's like, but Grealish has been injured. Doku's played games, like you don't feel it as much. So obviously it's about being smart, because we haven't got the funds of a City. But yeah, I think probably another winger. I think definitely, because we're so reliant on our wingers.
Yeah, it's true.
When Saka and Martinelli are firing, we're very good. When they're lackluster, like last night or other nights, we struggle. So I think he needs another winger. Trossard's an extra winger. And if you get another one, then you've got 4 for 2 places to compete.
With that Doku and Grealish situation, like it's hot. Man City's probably the only team where you can get them two world-class players. One's not going to play like most of the time, and they're going to stay happy because they're winning trophies every season, like the biggest trophies you can get.
Of course, that makes it easier, definitely.
Like if you're at a Tottenham or even an Arsenal, really, like the person that's not playing, they're not really, or they're playing a few games a season, they're not winning any trophies with it.
Yeah.
What are they getting from it? Like they're not going to be as happy.
Yeah, it's definitely harder to do at Arsenal than a City.
Yeah.
City have the greatest like squad and rep of winning trophies to be able to convince a player to do that. I think Arsenal are getting there because you look at a player like Trossard. He left Brighton to come to Arsenal. As much as he's not starting as much as he probably would want, obviously I don't know him, but I'd assume he prefers this than being the star man at Brighton because he's playing Champions League football, he's competing in title races, and they're this close. So he must,
on the team
as well. It's not like he's just come in and actually just sat on the bench. Like he's come in and scored some important goals for us in some big games. He started big games and scored goals as well.
Yeah,
he would want to start more often, of course, but he's involved. Like he's not like Eddie, he's not like Reece Nelson, he's not like Smith Rowe. Those players that are really kind of hardly involved. Trossard's heavily involved. So I think if you can get someone like that, it has to be of that level though. It has to be of a level that Arteta thinks I can involve him. He's involving Trossard because he obviously thinks Trossard is there and abouts with his other wingers. So you have to find someone that you think genuinely can compete.
It's about building that atmosphere that they're coming in and it's not a toxic environment.
As well. This is why their research on the players and their personality is important and stuff. But I think it would be good for Saka, Martinelli, because I don't know. I think it should never.
It's almost like it's not just me now. Like.
Yeah. As much as Saka's been unreal for a couple of seasons now. He's been.
He needs some breathing space.
Yeah, he needs some type of breathing space, but also some type of competition that takes you to another level as a player. When you know, okay, if I have 2-3 stinkers in a row, I'm probably on the bench next game.
Good point, actually. Yeah.
Or if I'm having a poor 60 minutes, I'm coming off. Whereas
he
Saka's
knows now.
Not coming off now. You know, no matter what, Saka's playing. And is he of that level where he should just not come off? You see Haaland even come off yesterday in the 90th minute before extra time. So like City are taking players like De Bruyne off, Haaland off, and we're in a situation where we know Saka ain't coming off no matter how the game's going.
If he would have played his last 4 games the way he's played in that City team to start, he'd be Grealish would come in.
Yeah,
or
he'd come in at I've seen so many times watching City, Doku starts, for example, and 58 minutes in, he's not done anything. Grealish is on, he's off. Like, obviously as a player, it's not the best thing, but that means on the pitch, I'm not only here to try and win this game, but I'm also here to keep my spot. Like that extra 5% you get from that as a player, I think is invaluable.
It gets the best out of you, 100%, mate, 100%. I'll put 3 positions I want. You mentioned the winger, but I put 3 positions I'd like Arsenal to look at in the summer, which I'd be happy with. Is a striker, like everyone's been talking about really all season. Arsenal fans, non-Arsenal fans. A killer, a goal scorer, and I think Isak's on fire at the moment for Newcastle. If we could, I think Arsenal break the bank, get Isak, I'd be happy with that. If we just got Isak, I'd still be happy. Even if it was just the only player we got, because he's of that calibre where I feel like he could take us to that next level and give us that other option. And then I think we need another like number 8, because I think every time Arsenal have lost this season in the league, Havertz he's played midfield. I remember one of the analysts at Palace telling me that every time Havertz has played in midfield, that's when we've lost. So I don't see him as a number 8. And then who have we got? We've got Declan Rice, who plays higher with the 8 with Odegaard. Other than that, it will be like Smith Rowe in there.
Yeah.
Or, I don't know, what's that? Fabio Vieira's not got a sniff in a while. I don't know if he's injured. So I think we need to get the 2 I put down. I put Morgan Gibbs-White. I'd love to see him at Arsenal. I don't think that could happen, but Morgan Gibbs-White or Curtis Jones, I think them 2 would fit in perfectly to that sort of that role where Rice is playing at the moment. And then a centre back. I think we need another centre back to cover. Well, I don't know what you think, but obviously Gabriel and Saliba are unbelievable. But if one of them did get injured, as we see last season, we don't really have a same level backup.
Yep.
Yeah. So I'd probably go. I've put down Tomori. Again, that's just probably my. I don't know if that's my lack of knowledge of outside the Premier League, but I feel like he's top level. I feel like tomorrow he's top level, and he's young, same age as pretty much like Gabriel and Saliba in between them. What do you reckon?
Yeah, Alexander Isak, I've been saying since last season, like that's the type of striker.
Henry, isn't it? He's Henry.
Yeah, like because there's strikers come in loads of different like forms, but I think he suits Arsenal to a T in the sense that he's a link-up man. Like he can come and play and get involved, but he's deadly. Like he can run in behind, he can sit defenders down and score. As we see against Spurs. Yeah, like he's, what I mean? It's like he's not just a goal scorer, but he's that player that can get you a goal when the game's tight. Yeah. He can just pull off on a shoulder and sit a defender down and score. Like, do we have anyone like that right now? No. On top of the fact that he's clearly a 20-plus goal man. Like, this is his second season. He's gonna get. Is it his second one? He's done well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. And I think when you look at his goals per games, because he's missed a lot of games this season and last season as well, but his goals per game is like second highest, I think, isn't it? It's like after Haaland, it's probably like the best. So I agree with you. If we literally only got him, like I feel we need. We do need more, but I think if like let's say he's going to cost so much that you can only get him, I'd say just do it. Yeah, because we need a striker. It's clear. Arteta even said yesterday that we haven't got a striker that can score 30, 40 goals. So this is what we have to deal with. And apparently we spent what 640 mil under Arteta. Yeah. But that's why this is why I say like the opposition fans will count that and try and like say. I still can't add that up how we've spent that much under him, but. Anyway. I don't know. I haven't obviously calculated or looked at it, but it's been a long process of like this will be like his fourth summer transfer window, something like that, where he's going to try and get players in. So the rebuild's been a massive one. So it cost a lot of money. My only big concern with Arteta and what he's done, I'm going to like say that the Havertz signing, because. It was 65 million. If he was cheap, it's like, okay, he's an established Premier League player, European player. Okay, he brings squad depth. But 65 million, I feel like if you're spending that much, he's got to come in and be, we've got to know have the impact that Rice is doing. Exactly. And it's like the biggest concern is what is his position? He's not going to be our striker for the next 4 or 5 years. It's clear. Like he's not. He can't be. But he's not. He can't be a 30-goal number 9. I think as a 9, his biggest attribute is his hold up and play and his ability to compete physically and his work rate. Yeah. But Arsenal aren't a long ball team, so it's like it's a small part of being a striker. Like let's say he was playing for, I don't know. A team lower in the table that wanted to go direct a lot, then fantastic. But we're not trying to do that. Yeah, we're not trying to do that. So it's like it helps in maybe one game a season when we're playing City and we're trying to sit in and go long a bit maybe. But when we're trying to break down Villa at the weekend, is he who you want to see up front? Obviously he didn't play up front, but just as an example. Yeah. Like you said about the stat about us losing when he's playing in the 8. He's not an 8. Not a starter for our level, no way. Not an 8. And then I'd say his best position is like a second striker, like a Dele Alli type. Yeah. Number 10 that runs in and gets goals, because in that position he'd get a decent amount of goals for a 10. But we don't really play that. We don't play that, and we have Odegaard as our number 10, and he's never gonna compete in that position. So it's like you spent £65 million on a player that we can't even say, he's our best player at this position. He's not our best player in any position. Yeah. So, but he's like, I know he's gone quiet the last couple games, like quiet-ish. Yeah, but I didn't buy into that, man. Because if you play enough games as Arsenal striker, you're gonna score eventually. So you don't think he's like he's got some vital goals for us, like that produced wins for sure, definitely. But I think that was well overhyped. Like really? Yeah, because it doesn't justify 65 million. 65 I don't know. He's won about 4 or 5 games. 65 million needs to do more than that, mate. Yeah, it's like. I know he like Brentford. He scored a late winner. Luton as well. He scored a late winner. Like fantastic, and those were very important. But if you play up front for Arsenal, you're going to score goals eventually. Like you can stick anyone up front. You're going to put the ball in the net. What's he on? 9 goals. Maybe it's because when he's come in, people thought he was going to be so bad.
that he's actually started doing.
I think it's because he was playing as an 8, so it was like a different dynamic. And as he's gone up front, it's like, yeah, I agree. It's like, okay, he's been so bad for a while, and now he's actually scored a couple goals. It's like
he's worth the money.
Yeah, but he's not. I think it just made it okay. It's like, yeah, he's.
I still don't think it's bad signing. I can see if we get
the reason I'm saying that is because it could hinder our ability to sign.
Maybe,
a big. You know, an Isak in the summer. If let's say we get all the players we need, then I'm not complaining at all. I'm saying that from a perspective of can we afford to spend 65 million on him and then still go and get the players we need a centre forward now? And this is the reason I question it as well, is we're gonna go and get a centre forward, I hope. Then where is he gonna play? Where does he play?
I think he will sort of be like, if you look at City and Haaland, right? I can see him being the Alvarez role, where if he's not in the team, he might play there as that, like you said, the centre forward that's not the goal scorer.
Is that what you want to use as a 65 million pound man? So that's why I say it's questionable. Like, it would definitely be useful. I agree. If you buy a striker now and you know that Havertz is your second kind of forward, that's fine. But it's still like, then you're like, why did it need to cost so much for that?
But that's just the money these days, man. That's the money. And also price, you can have the same player on the same form for the last 2 years, and if he's 5 years older or younger and he's got no years on his contract or he's got 5 years, it can completely change the price.
Of course.
So you can't always.
I know the market is, the market is the market and price. I'm not saying Havertz is. No,
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. Yeah.
I'm not saying he's a 20 million pound player. No, he's probably a 65 million pound player. Was it what we needed? That's my question. And I don't know. Arteta definitely seen something with him. And he's coming clutch definitely this season. I can't, as an Arsenal fan, you can't ignore that. But it's still frustrating because you look at games like last night, you look at games like Villa, and you're like, come on, man, do something. And do you even have faith that he's going to do something?
Not in them games.
Like when he was in on goal twice against Villa, did you think he's scoring?
That's not him. Yeah, I know.
When Ollie Watkins was in twice.
You're thinking goal,
before he's hit the ball, I'm thinking this is peak. Like the first one he's hit the post, I thought goal. Second one he's in against Smith Rowe, I'm thinking goal. Like you want that kind of player at Arsenal, and there's probably too many teams with a better striker than us.
Yeah, that's true. Like, to win a league,
there can't be that many teams with a better striker than you.
So mate, that's definitely a position. That's our number one, and then hopefully we can strengthen up elsewhere, like we just mentioned.
Yeah, I agree with the 8 as well, because Havertz can't play as an 8.
He ain't got the depth there.
I think Jorginho and Rice, that combination I like, but I can't see Jorginho staying long term. I think this could be his last year. Similar with Partey. So we probably need someone, because I think Rice needs that kind of ball playing CM next to him.
Yeah, he does.
And then because I don't think on his own he's unlocking teams or playing them kind of passes that are putting players into good positions. So yeah, I think we probably need another midfielder as well. And you said centre back?
Yeah, centre back. I just feel like we just again
the depth. Yeah, 100%, the depth. Because if you lose, I'd say left sided centre back. Just because I think, let's say Touchwood Saliba went, you'd have Ben White who can play there. You can even have Tomiyasu who can play there. I think if you bought another left sided centre back,
Kyrgios can play there as well.
Yeah, to be fair, we've got Kyrgios as well. So, but I think
left side. Are
you looking at Kyrgios and saying it's close enough to Saliba and Gabriel? Possibly in the future.
Maybe.
Possibly in the future. But you look at City, you've got players like Akanji on the bench sometimes. They got, Ake doesn't play every game. Like these, with
the centre back, I think it's trickier as well, because if Gabriel and Saliba stay fit, they're not going to. He's not going to play.
It's a hard signing to make.
It will have to be some sort of drop off, I think.
Yeah. I think it's probably it's one of them ones where you got to be smart and find another up and coming one.
Yeah, I agree.
Someone that is young enough to say, okay, I don't mind being deputy for now, but is actually that good that when he plays, he surprises everyone and says, okay, this guy is that good.
Yeah, mate, I agree. Right, we'll leave the transfer talk for now, and we'll just talk about sort of the end of the season, and Arsenal have obviously got Wolves. Yeah, so we'll talk about a little bit about the title race and how Arsenal should approach that Wolves game.
Yeah.
But first thing, we can focus on the league now.
Yeah.
we're out of the Champions League, so full focus on that. Nothing else to think about. But I've got our fixtures here. We've got some tough games. So we've got Wolves away, obviously this weekend, and then we've still got to play the likes of Chelsea, Spurs, and United. So, I mean, if we go unbeaten for the rest of the year, that's a very, very tough ask. But we're obviously challenging against City, who are still in the FA Cup. Obviously shown they can lose games when they're dominating, albeit it was the Champions League against Real Madrid. But City also have Spurs away, and Liverpool. We mentioned last week that they're gonna, or a couple of weeks ago, that they were gonna drop points. They did. I don't actually think they'll. I can see them dropping more points, to be honest. I don't think they'll go unbeaten at all. So I think we just got to focus on City, really, or focus on ourselves, winning games. But City, I think, looking out from the outside, will be the only problem if we do.
Definitely. Yeah. I think, what are we, level with Liverpool and 2 points off City? Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Is that right?
I think I put it this way. I can't see Liverpool coming from behind to catch City.
No, so they can't.
I think we'd be the only team with a bit of a chance to do it, and that would be by winning our 6 games or winning 5 and getting a draw. I think we need to try and go unbeaten as a minimum. And if you can get 5-6 wins, you'll be right out there. Like you'll be as close as you can. It's obviously with the Champions League game now, it makes the Villa game feel a bit even worse. Yeah. Because if we'd have won that, you'd think, okay, we went out last night, but we're top now.
Yeah. Let's just
win 6 games and we win it. But obviously we drop points. But City can drop points. They're in the FA Cup, like you said.
Do you think? Let me ask you this. Do you think, honestly, bottom of your heart, it's still doable?
I think it's doable, but I don't. Like I bet. Like if you ask me to bet now, I'd say City. 100%. But it's not. It's definitely not done. It's like Arsenal. If I'm Arteta, I have to just gather the players and say, look, boys, we got one more thing to compete for. Let's go out and do the best we can and see if we can push them all the way. Like as a minimum, push them all the way. If we can go to the 6th game and it's like, okay, this game's for the title. You know, if you're still 2 points behind them on the final day, then you can be proud of that. Don't do what we did last year.
Don't crumble now. We've had these 2 upsets.
Exactly. Don't do what we did last year and then like just completely fall off, because I think that's a mentality thing as well. I think if we do that again, we run the risk of always being a squad that if we lose one game at a critical time, we just derail. Yeah. Because obviously we lost against Villa and we lost last night. I'm going to class them as 2 separate kind of losses. The Champions League losses, you can't count that the same as a back-to-back kind of league loss. I think it's very important that they go to Wolves and genuinely bounce back, because anyhow they draw or lose at Wolves, then psychologically it just become a thing of like, it looks like every time we get that bad loss at a bad time, that's us done. Like we can't bounce back. And you don't want obviously a label, but even for yourself, I don't think you want that kind of thing in your head.
Yeah, but that stuff gets in your head the more that people talk about it around you.
100%. So that's why I'm saying the Wolves game is very important, just to get that stigma away. If you go 5 wins, 6 wins to the end of the season and still don't win it, at least you haven't got that label of, okay, once we crumble, we crumble. Yeah. That would mean, like you said, 1 loss in 2024. You can't. No. You can't.
But that's the thing.
You can't be disappointed in that.
A lot of people still think like Arsenal are the team that can absolutely batter teams when there's not much riding on it, even if they're a good side. But then as soon as it comes down to the important games, we sort of I don't want to use the word bottle, but that's the reputation at the moment. So I think the Wolves game, I actually think it's come at a good time. Although Wolves away is a hard game, their form is they've drawn, lost, and won. That's their last 5. They've won 1 out of the last 5. Yeah. So we should be go there. I don't want to. We should just go at them from the start. Go out from the start. I don't think it should be like a Kiwi or a Tomiyasu at left back. Zinchenko in, I think, and play our most attacking team and just blitz them first half like one of them.
Yeah, want to do what we've done before against them kind of teams. Yeah, just go all out. See if you can, catch them cold. They're on a bad run. If you get an early goal, it'd be the type of game you can win comfortably.
Who would you play on the weekend? Like, would there be any little key changes you'd make? So obviously, I know a few players were looking very tired.
Yeah.
Or would it just be the usual team we've been starting with, really?
It's the question of who would I play and who do I think Arteta would play? Because it's like,
are they different?
Realistically, I don't know. Well, realistically, we know he's not going to make any drastic changes. We know that he's got about 12 players, 13 players. I'd say it's Trossard and the other two wingers, and then it's Jesus and Havertz.
I think Jesus will start.
It's the left back.
Yeah,
that's the 3 positions that he's kind of rotating. Everything else is like, it's gonna play. So
I think he'll do like a Jesus on the left, which I wouldn't actually mind because he's going to bring energy. Havertz up front, I think he'll go, and Saka on the right. Normal midfield with Jorginho.
Yeah.
Apparently Jorginho's could be leaving at the end of the summer.
His contract's up, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think I think he said he's up to, like, he'd be open to moving back to Italy.
Yeah, that's what I said in terms of when I said we needed an 8. It's because of him. Because I think he's top, but like I just assume he's going to be done at the end of the season. He's.
It'd be Partey or Rice for that holding role, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll go to Wolves. Just play our normal game. And it'll be perfect to get that sort of bounce back to shut everyone up as well.
If you can go there and play our game, high energy, start right, and get a decent win, straight away you're back in it. Like, City ain't playing this weekend, so you'll be top.
They got FA Cup, haven't they?
You'll be top. Like, obviously they would still be yet to play, but you know how psychologically you're still back top of the table. Let them come and have to take you off that. So, there'll be twists and turns in this title because City do have to win all their games. Like, if we push them, that's what I'm saying. We need to push them. Obviously, if we start crumbling, then it becomes a thing where they can do whatever. But let's say we win at Wolves, they then have to go and win. If they draw,
pressure's on them now. Yeah.
So and they can draw, they can lose. So look, odds are in City's favour 100%, but it's far from done. It's
not over.
I think if you win all your games, then you'd be very unlucky not to win the league.
Yeah.
I think if you win all your games, you'd be very unlucky not to win.
Yeah, I agree, mate. We'll leave it there. Yeah, we'll see how they get on Saturday, couple of days' time, and then maybe have a catch up next week. Yeah.